Their state is when you are hovering over the link. Now this doesn't matter if you already been to it or you have not been to it. When you're hovering over it, you're hovering over it. So let's go ahead and make this one a lot different. So background, color, let's just change this to blue. Change the background to blue. And what else can we do? Change the color of the text to white. That might make it a little easier to read. Put text, decoration, underline. I always like hovering over to be underlined, so in order to do that you need to change a property called text decoration. And let's just go ahead, font, weight, bold. Make sure I spelled that right. Good enough. So now whenever you hover over it, let me just go ahead and do this. Whenever you hover over it, you get a blue background. You can see the text changes from green to white. You get an underline, and your font turns from regular to bold. Pretty cool, huh? So that's like how to make your website kind of dynamic and changing using just basic CSS. So, just thought I'd throw that out there. So now the one last state I want to cover is called the active state. Now the active state is as you are pressing down and your finger is holding down that button, this is the active state. So active, what do we want to do when our mouse button is active? Let's just go ahead and do something simple. Change the background color to orange. Simple enough. So let's go ahead and save this and let me explain to you guys what my finger is doing. Alright, right now I'm just moving my mouse. Now I'm hovering over it, so that's where the A hover comes into play, and now I'm clicking down. Maybe you can hear me. Here, maybe you can hear my mouse. See, now I'm holding it down. Now it's active. And of course, if I let go, it's going to go ahead and take me to the greatest website ever, thenewboston.com. There we go. Welcome to the New Boston. Have to check this out later. But anyways, that is the basics of the different states. I mean, before you might be thinking, alright, a link's a link, a link, a link. But no, it's actually composed of 4 different states, and that's what get a lot of people hung up and confused. But now you guys have the edge on them because you understand those different states and how you can alter them. So that's all I got for you guys for this tutorial. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Alright guys, welcome back to your 26th CSS and XHTML tutorial, and in this tutorial we're going to be styling some tables. It's going to be nice, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. So let's go ahead and make a table. Let's go ahead and make like 2 rows and 3 columns. Nice and simple. So table, and of course you need one of those, so ending table. And let's just go ahead and make our rows first. Table row, tur, and a nice little tur right there. And let's just go ahead and add our cells. Table data, ending table data, and what are we going to put in here? I love Bucky. And just go ahead and copy this so it gives us 3 columns. So now we have a table with 1 row and 3 columns in it. So if we wanted another row, to be lazy, just go ahead and copy this and paste it right underneath there. So now if we save this and take a look at it, here is our table right there. If you highlight it, you can kind of see the rows and columns easier. So we have 2 rows, 3 columns, looking pretty good. So now we're looking at this table and we already know how to add a border, but come on, we can do a little bit better than that. So let's go ahead and style this up and make it nice and fancy. So let's go ahead up in here. Y'all gonna make me. Alright, anyways, enough of me singing. Let's go ahead and first of all, we wanna style the overall table. And whenever we do this, the entire table is gonna be affected. So later on, well, you'll see what happens later on. So let's go ahead and just give this overall border. We'll use that shortcut so we don't have to define each one individually. Just make it like 3 pixels, solid blue. So let's go ahead and save this, refresh, and see what we got. So now around the entire table, we have a border that's 3 pixels, it's solid, and it's blue. Exactly what we expected. But now, what if we want to do something a little bit fancier? What if we want to say, alright, I want to change these rows individually to I don't know, with a background of yellow or something. And then even furthermore, I want to take each individual cell, and around each individual cell I want to add a border so we have 6 individual box looking things. Well, actually it is possible to do that in CSS, so let me go ahead and show you guys. Let me go through and do that for you guys, and then I want to go over a few things. So let's go, and for our table row, what I say, background color yellow, not yellow, yellow. That's a little better. Yellow, you there? Get it? Answering the phone. Yeah, that's a pretty corny joke. Anyways, so now if we go ahead and save that, check it out. Refresh, and now the entire row is yellow, and this row is yellow too. I mean, why wouldn't it be? So let's go ahead and take that table data, which is of course the individual cells, and what I say, like add a border. So border equals 2 pix, not solid, we already used solid, dashed red. So let's go ahead and save this and refresh it and see what we get. We get a nice 2 pixel dashed red border across each one of these cells. And the thing I wanted to mention is this: even though we have a style applied to each individual piece of data and also a style applied to each row, whenever you apply a style to the individual pieces of data, it doesn't override the table row. The table row stays and the table data gets inherited. So by that I mean, here's what I'm trying to say. Whenever you make your table row yellow and then you make your table data whatever you want, it doesn't replace the table row since you did this. Everything gets inherited down, so whatever you did to the table gets affected on the whole table. Whatever you did to the table row gets affected in the table row and the table data. And whatever you do to the table data affects only that table data. I mean, I probably just confused you guys even more by saying all that, but I mean, if you just look at what's going on, you can understand how it works, and that it's not really overwriting anything. It's just adding to it. That's, I guess, a more simple explanation. So anyways, that is the basics of how you style a table, and check it out. This is a lot better than, just adding a border to the table. Now you can do stuff like this and make your table a lot more easier to read, and just give you the idea that you can, in fact, style tables just like any other XHTML element. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Go have fun styling your tables, and when you're ready, I'll see you in the next tutorial. Why, hello there, bloody good day, and in this tutorial we're going to be talking about unordered lists. So our 27th tutorial, and yeah, it's definitely time to learn how to style unordered lists. So before we can style an unordered list, we probably would need one, eh? So let's go ahead and make an unordered list, end it right there, and add some list items in here. And yep, definitely messed that up, so just undo that. Wow, I'm messing like this whole thing up. There we go, Bucky. You get it. And okay, let's concentrate here. Enough gagging around. Li. Time to add some list items. So the first item would be like apple. Let's just go ahead and copy this. Way too lazy to type this again. So okay, what's on my mind? Apple. I guess we can make this a list of food that I like. Apple pie and dumplings, because they sound funny and they taste good. Not a bad combination. So now that we have an unordered list, let's go ahead and check it out. A regular dumb old list with these dumb old bullet points. I mean, this is a nice list of food, but I want to spice things up a bit. I want to make this look nice and pretty. So the first thing that you might be thinking is, alright Bucky, the first thing that we need to do is either change these little bullets or get rid of them altogether, because I mean, this is old school. Just regular bullet holes? I don't think so. So let's go ahead and learn how to change our bullet points, and in order to do that, go ahead and write your UL is the element, and the property in order to change this is called list minus style minus type. Now this has a bunch of excuse me, not default, but it has a bunch of built-in things. I can only remember like 3 off the top of my head. Let's see if I can remember one. Square is one. Now if we go ahead and refresh this, check it out. Our bullet holes turn to squares. That's that's probably really hard to see on YouTube, but I assure you they are squares. Let's go ahead and make something that's a little easier. Circle, I know is one. That might be a little easier to see. Circle. See, now you can see that instead of those filled in bullet holes, they're now nice, elegant looking empty circles. So that's pretty cool. And actually, I just thought of another one. I don't know why I thought of this, but it's called katakana. And you gotta say it like that. You just have to. I didn't make the rules. And if you refresh this, you can see these, I don't know, I guess they're like Chinese or Japanese symbols. If anyone knows what those symbols mean, then leave me a comment below, because well, obviously because I don't know what they mean and I want to know. So anyways, that is the basics of how you change your unordered list from regular dumb mode bullet points to something else. So another thing that I want to mention is, if you go through and you see, you look on the website and you go through looking at all the bullet points that you can use, and none of them really, I don't know, tickle your feathers, I guess. None of them really make you happy. You can go ahead and download an image or make an image and use them as your own custom bullet points. So I went ahead and I already downloaded an image off the internet, and it's just cool little check mark. And if I wanted to use that instead of my bullet points, here's what I would need to do. First of all, you don't use list style type anymore, so go ahead and delete all that. What you use is a property called list style image. And of course, anytime we want to use the image in CSS, we use the keyword URL with those parentheses. And inside our parentheses, I have a file that I already downloaded. So if you do this, it's not going to work because this file isn't on your computer. But anyways, I already have this in my folder. It's called check.png. So when I go ahead and save this and refresh, it's going to go from katakana to those cool little check marks. So now you can see, instead of those bullet points, it has like my own custom whatever I want. So I just want to show you guys that there is a way to if you're not happy with anything they give you by default, then you can make your own. So another thing that I wanted to cover in this tutorial, maybe I'll save this for the next tutorial. Now we got time to do it now. Let's go ahead and delete all of this and add a property like border 1 pix solid red. This is a problem that I had a long time ago, and I remember that every time I made a website it would annoy me. So I always use unordered lists when I have like a navigation bar on the side. And the first thing I want to do is this. First of all, on my navigation bar, I don't want these little bullet points. So in order to remove those, I go ahead and in my CSS, I go list style type, and I set this to none. And I'm thinking, alright, whenever I do this, the bullet points are going to disappear, and all of these, which would be links, are going to be pushed nice and neatly to the left. But I refresh, and I get this problem. I have this huge space to my left. Even though there are no bullet points, I just want to like shake my computer, and I'm like, dude, you don't have any bullet points, so you don't have to move over. So can you just hop over there where you should be? Go ahead, just hop on over. But it doesn't do that. In order to get those to the left, let me explain this first of all. By default, your browser gives padding, at least left padding, to unordered list. It also gives a margin, I believe, by default. So in order to fix the padding, I mean, you would think that it would be 0 by default because it just makes sense, but it isn't. In order to fix the padding, you need to explicitly set this to 0. So go ahead and type padding in there and go ahead and type 0. And now once we go ahead and save this and refresh it, check it out. Everything is pushed nice and neatly to the left. And of course, if this is too much for you, you can alter the padding accordingly. But I just wanted to show you guys, whenever you guys are making a website and you're like, making an unordered list as a navigation column. Seems like a good idea. And you have this problem. Well, now you won't have it anymore like I had. So I shot myself in the foot so you guys wouldn't have to. So anyways, that's all I wanted to show you guys. Trying to save you a little headache at least. So there you have it. So thank you guys for watching this tutorial. I don't know what I'm covering in the next tutorial, but like always, it's going to be amazing. So anyways, thank you guys. Don't forget to check out my website, and I'll see you guys later. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to your 28th CSS tutorial, and this is going to be an amazing tutorial because in this lesson I'm going to be teaching you guys how to apply styles to more than one element at a time. Because before we had to take each element and apply one style at a time, and it took a lot of time, and I'm just way too lazy for that. So I'm going to teach you guys how to save some time, and also we're going to be learning something else if I don't run out of time in this video. So the first thing we need is just go ahead and add some normal text on your web page, not up there, down here in your body. This is normal text, and under this just go ahead and make a header 1. You can actually make whatever header you want, but I chose header 1. Why not? And go ahead and write like this is header 1 in it. And under your header, go ahead and make a paragraph. Here's my opening P. And in your paragraph text, just write this is a paragraph or anything you want. So anyways, like I said, what I want to teach you guys how to do is apply styles to more than one element at a time. So before, what we did is we had a tag, for example, our header tag, which we would put h1, and then we would go ahead in our curly braces apply whatever style, property, value we wanted to. And then under that, we would have another thing like p for paragraph, and then in here we would apply whatever same style we want. But what if you had this crazy idea that I want to apply the same style to two different tags? For example, I want to turn all the text in my paragraph red and also all the text in my header red. So if we wanted to apply the same style to more than one element at a time, here's a nice little shortcut for that. Instead of writing on several different lines, we can go ahead and write h1 just like before, and we can write a comma, and then after that go ahead and add your other element on the same exact line. So this saves you the trouble of not only having to add many elements, but on one line write all the elements you want. You just have to remember to separate them with a comma, and then you only apply that rule once. And when you apply it once, it's going to affect all the elements you told it to. So like I said, it saves you some time. So let's go ahead and check out an example right now. If we go ahead and take the property color, set it equal to red or something simple, something that shows up good, and go ahead and save that. Now check it out. The normal text stayed the same right there because it didn't get affected with our CSS, but the header and paragraph both turned red. Even though they're on the same line and we only said that CSS rule color red one time, it applied it to both the paragraph and header 1 element. So again, like you can see, this saves you a whole lot of time whenever you're applying the same style to many different elements. And I did it with 2 elements in this example, but you can do it with 3, 4, 5, however many you want. So anyways, that's what I wanted to show you for the first half of this tutorial. Now, let's just go ahead and delete everything because that was simple enough. What I want to show you guys now is something called span. Now, before I taught you guys how to apply styles to entire elements, for example, in the lesson I just showed you, how would you apply the style to an entire header, or how would you apply a style to an entire paragraph? But say for example you have a paragraph. Let me go ahead and make one real quick on your screen like this, and there's a bunch of text in it. Let me just type some stuff. This is my first para and I love carrots and apple pie. So you have this wonderful paragraph on your screen, and this website's looking pretty good so far, but you get this crazy idea that maybe you want to apply a CSS property to, maybe just a couple words. Well, we know that we can't apply it to the paragraph or it's going to affect everything, so how do we solve that problem? Well, what XHTML did, or the wonderful people who made it, they invented a special XHTML tag, and it's called span. S-P-A-N. And whenever we want to affect just a group or a block of text, what we need to do is we need to surround that text with our span tag. So let me go ahead and surround like I love carrots with a special span tags. Now this is a double tag, so it has an opening and closing span, and let me go ahead and end it right here. Span. And now you're saying, alright, Bucky, so how do I actually apply a CSS rule to this? Well, again, just like any other element, just go ahead and type the element name, which is span, up here. And I'm not just making this word up. You can't like write your name and put it in here and expect it to work. Span is actually a built-in thing. So, you know, don't go making up words on me. So anyways, in your curly brackets, just write it like you write any other normal CSS property. So let's go ahead and something different than color. Let's go ahead and change the font weight this time. Let's change this to bold. And also, might as well change the color to color, change it to green. That should look pretty good. So now, let's go ahead and save this and refresh and check it out. None of the paragraph is affected, but your span, which is pretty much like custom-made tags, that might be an easier way to understand it, that is the only part that's affected. So if you ever come across this problem where you want to apply a CSS rule, but you don't want to affect the whole tag, you can insert these custom span tags, and then only the text that's in between those tags is going to be affected. So that's pretty sweet. And again, like I said, span is a keyword that you need to use. You just can't use any word you want, like your name or your favorite food. You need to use the word span, or else your browser is not going to understand it. So anyways, that's all I have for you guys for this tutorial. So thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my next lesson. What is going on, guys? It's Bucky, and welcome to your 29th CSS tutorial. And this tutorial is going to be amazing because we're going to be talking about my favorite part of CSS, and that is called the div element. Now, before, you might have noticed, if you try to make a cool looking web page, that what we know so far, we can't really get a cool layout with our web page. Maybe you tried using tables, but that didn't really work out. It looked like an old web page. I mean, if we just put like a heading and an image and then a paragraph, everything kind of looks like it's stacked on top of each other, and it reminds you of like the old 1990s websites where everything was just like plain and stupid, and it wasn't a good layout. It looked more of like an outline for English class than a layout. So here is what I'm going to introduce to you guys in this tutorial. An element called div, short for division, long for duh. No, it's not long for duh, but anyways, what it means is a div element pretty much gives you the ability to define sections on your web page to place elements exactly where you want them. So for example, if you want an image in the top right, and then maybe a heading in the bottom left, and maybe some paragraphs somewhere in the middle, you can position them exactly how you want them using the div element. So now everything just doesn't have to go paragraph under it, a heading under it, an image under it, another heading. Nothing has to be stacked on top of each other anymore. It could be laid out to the left, right, side by side if you want. So anyways, enough of me talking. Let's get in. Let me show you guys this div in action. So let's go ahead and put some text on the screen. Just put some my name is Bucky. That's good enough. Nothing too big. Don't want to waste my time type in worthless text. So anyways, go ahead and surround it with these tags, div, and yes, you have to use those exact letters, and div. So now the text, my name is Bucky, it's surrounded in div tags right here. So what exactly can we do with div tags? Well, if we go up here in our CSS and write div, and in our properties, or curly braces, whatever you want to call them, go ahead and start adding properties to it. First of all, let's go ahead and make it easy to see. So let's give it like a solid red border. So border, 2 pixels, solid red. If you guys can't see that, then you are blind. So now I'm going to teach you guys about something called positioning, but actually just go ahead and do this. Position absolute. Now, positioning is like a whole nother tutorial, so I'm just going to skip over this for now, but it's crucial that if you want to follow along, then you write position equals absolute. But again, don't worry about position right now because I'm going to be covering that in like 2 or 3 tutorials, but for now, let's just stick with div and focus on this. So anyways, like I said, a div is pretty much a section of your website. So what we can do to give this box, yeah, that's a better term for it, a box. And what we can do is first give this box a width. So go ahead and set the width equal to 300 pixels. And now what we can do is check it out. Let's go ahead and save it so we see what we're working with first. Go ahead and refresh the screen, and we now have a box on our screen. Now the text is inside the box, aka the div, and also the box has a border of 2 pixels. It's solid and it's red. But we're saying, alright Pucky, you told me that I can position this anywhere I want on the screen. It doesn't have to be stuck in the top left corner. Well, let's go ahead and change that right now. In order to change the position of this box, the only thing you need are coordinates. Now, here is the top of your browser right here, and here's the left hand side. So say you want to move it down 40 pixels, so it'll be somewhere right here, and left 35 pixels, so it'll be like the top left will be somewhere right here. So let's go ahead and do that by adding the properties top, and go ahead and make this 40 pixels, and also set left equal to 35 pixels. And a lot of people get this confused easy. Whenever you save it and refresh it, you see that it moved down 40 pixels and it moved to the right 40 pixels. Whenever you say top 40 pixels, you're saying the top left corner you want to be 40 pixels down right here, not like the middle. Some people might think, alright, a middle point would be a good point to move around, but it's actually the top left corner you're focusing on. So whenever you say top 40, it says move the top down 40, or in other words, 40 pixels from the top. And whenever you say left 35 pixels, it says move this corner 35 pixels from the left. So now we have our box moved down from the top 40 pixels and moved down, or excuse me, moved over from the left 35 pixels. So pretty easy to understand, and now you can see by using those coordinates we can move this box around the screen anywhere we want. So this is a lot better way of positioning our elements around on the screen than just before, or maybe if you tried using a table. Don't ever do that because it just doesn't work. This is the new and improved way of how to use CSS to position elements. So later on, when we're making an entire website and say maybe we want our logo in the top left and maybe an ad on the top right and a navigation bar across the top and maybe some more navigation on the left, we use a bunch of different divs in order to make a bunch of different boxes that we can put stuff in. So anyways, I'm going to be teaching you guys about positioning and how to make different types of divs in the upcoming tutorials, so don't forget to check those out. So for now, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and yeah, I guess I'll see you next video. What's going on, guys? It's Bucky, and welcome to your 30th XHTML and CSS tutorial. 30 tutorials, that's a milestone. Someone should give me an award or something. But anyways, in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you guys how to control styles by using something called a class. Now, what a class is it's similar to a span in the sense that we can affect the same element in different ways. So, let me break this down for you a little more clear. Before, we've been using elements to apply styles to everything on the web page that was the same element. For example, if we had 8 paragraphs and we applied a style to the paragraph tag, it would affect all 8 paragraphs. But what if you're saying, alright Bucky, I want half my paragraphs to be red and half of my paragraphs to be green. Well, we can't apply a style to the paragraph tag because it would affect all the paragraphs. So in order for us to get more control or more customization over our web page, we need to use something called a class. Now let's go ahead and, well, we might as well use that paragraph example. So let's go ahead and make 2 paragraphs on your screen. So the first one can be like, let's go ahead and type, I want this text to be red! Exclamation point, because we really mean it. So let's go ahead and copy this and paste it, but we'll change this paragraph to, boy oh boy, I wish I was green. And why I capitalized green, I have no idea. But I did it. What are you going to do about it? So anyways, we have two paragraphs. One where we want the text to be red, and one where we want the text to be green. So you're thinking, alright, maybe I'll go ahead and for this paragraph, go ahead and do red, and for another paragraph, go ahead and do green. But that's not going to work because it's either going to make all your paragraphs red or all your paragraphs green. So what is the solution to this problem? Well, the answer, my friend, you guessed it, is classes. So in order to make a class, here's what you do. The first thing you do in order to tell CSS you're going to be working with a class is put the period or a dot, whatever the heck you want to call it. And now name your class anything you want except a cuss word because that's just rude. So I'm going to name mine red text. By the way, you probably want to name it something descriptive. Where don't name it like baked beans and applesauce because that has nothing to do with the red text. Name it something that you notice what it is. So anyways, go ahead and put your period and then write the name of your class and then inside your curly braces what you want the rule to be. I want color red. So anything that belongs to the class red text is going to have red text. Simple enough. So let's go ahead and add another class. Just so I can show you guys that you can name it anything you want. I'm going to go ahead and name this baby Green Goblins. That sounds like a name from what's that show? Legends of the Hidden Temple. But was Green Goblins even a thing? Let me see. Silver Snake, Purple Penguins or something. And Green Goblins. Might as well. Anyways, like I was saying. So now we have a class red text and another class green goblins. And let's go ahead and make the rule for green goblins. Anytime anything belongs to the class green goblins, their text is going to be, of course, green. Hence the name green goblins. So simple enough. So now you're saying, alright, let's go ahead and save this and see what happens. If we just refresh it, check it out. Our paragraphs are plain old because we didn't apply the class to those paragraphs yet. So in order to do that, here's what you need to do. For this paragraph, since we want this one to belong to the class red text, we need to add an attribute called class, and we need to set it equal to the name of that class. But don't include the period whenever you write it as your XHTML attribute. Just go ahead and drop the period and write the name of your class, which is red text. So go ahead and copy that and paste it in here. So now let's go ahead and save it, refresh, and see what we got. Now this paragraph is the only paragraph that belongs to the class red text. So this is the only paragraph that's going to turn red. So now you can see that we have some more customization. So now if we want this paragraph to belong to the class red text and this paragraph to belong to the class green goblins, go ahead and save this and refresh, we can see that this text is now green. So before this tutorial, we really had no way of segregating the two paragraphs. And you can make them any color you want. I chose red and green. Don't choose black and white because that's just racist. And anyways, like I was saying, we can now segregate the classes and add more customization to the same element, whereas before when we had one element we had one rule where it affected all the elements on the page, all the paragraphs on page, all the headers on page, they got the same rule. Well, now we can split them up, and for this example it wasn't really useful